Hey, and welcome. Hey, and welcome, you guys. Happy Friday. I hope you guys had a good week and you have an awesome weekend. Okay, your girl has to work tomorrow, but I digress. We are here to talk about the things, but before we get started, please stick around to the ends of the video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Sorry, moving my hand gets the computer going. Gets the computer going. Yes, so if we could do all of the things, that would be great. We are here for College Hill, the Celebrity Edition, Season 3, Episode 5, Mardi Gras Mishaps. I enjoyed the episode. You know, I have been wanting to get to New Orleans to go to Mardi Gras. That's the goal for next year. So we got to see that in this episode. It's week 3, and the gang, they have finals, I believe, for 3 of their classes. And Dr. Charlene from their diaspora class has done a pop-up. Now, we remember last episode, she has said she has not even seen Saucy's face, not one time. Saucy ain't been to one, not near one class. And it's time for the Mardi Gras Zulu Parade. So she's there to see Saucy. Also, she just wants to talk to the group, give them a couple of gentle reminders. So everyone's kind of voiced their concerns, from Tamar, who's not sure if Saucy's actually going to be able to turn this thing around, to Nick now saying that he's not honoring the pact that he made with Carlos. They give us that flashback of Carlos like, we're going to do homework every night. If you go to the club, I'm going to go to the club, but we're going to get the work done. And Nick kind of feels like it's having an effect on the house. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily true, other than it's aggravating everybody, but everybody else seems to be moving and pushing through it. So like I said, the professor, she just wants to check in and make sure everybody knows what they're doing for the assignment. Saucy don't bother to come in. Like, that was part of why Nick went in there to talk to him. But he's like, I don't know how to feel. So he never even bothered to come show his face. They got to do the 5 photos, a minimum of 200 words each photo of a cultural experience. Now, this is part of their final, and they also need to do a presentation for the class on what they learn. So now we got a few of them that are feeling uncomfortable about the blackface that the Zulus do, which I totally understand. And the professor is trying to like explain it to them so they can get a better understanding. Carlos in particular. So she's like, masks were expensive. And so they started painting their faces and having a parade as a way to take back their power. Black folks always going to take something back. We turned them lemons into lemonade. We talked about soul food and things like that last episode. Well, at least I spoke about it last episode, but we're always going to make a way out of no way. That's just our history. So Carlos, he's not with it, and Tamar is trying to convince him. He's trying to rein it in, but he is being Carlos, like, I don't care. I'm not trying to see it. I'm not with it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. All of the things. Now, Saucy ain't going. Saucy don't go. Saucy don't act like field trips is not part of the class. So the professor already has said that he cannot make it up, and it does. And if he doesn't go and take the pictures, he will not pass the class. Saucy cares not. Now let me just take a minute. Let me just take a minute to say this and share this with the group. Saucy is me, child. That is what I did my first year. Once I got to school, I was so happy to be away from home. That's why I don't have my degree now. I was so happy to be away from home that once I made some friends, your girl was outside that first year. That whole first year, just throw it in the trash, and maybe half of the second year. Had I not done that, which this is a valuable lesson, I don't know that Saucy Santana would ever watch my channel. And this has already been filmed, but it's a valuable lesson to people that are doing the same thing. Had I not done that, I will be a lot further, and I potentially would have graduated by now. You have to prioritize school, and then the fun comes as a secondary. My son goes away to college. He about to head away next month. And, when I'm talking to him on the phone, we're checking on a FaceTime, and he seems a little stressed out. Is all your work done? Yes. Go out. have a good time, make some friends, do the things. The grades are first. The grades are the priority, not the tutor, not the hanging out, but I digress. So they are drinking, they are having a good time, but they still have an assignment to do. So Claudia says, she wasn't offended because now all the different people are coming down. We see the Zulu. She says she wasn't offended. And the professor's kind of again talking to Carlos. And while he was uncomfortable initially, he said seeing it he kind of got it, like visually seeing it, talking to the people, even though he still disagrees, which I'm with him on that one. I don't like the idea of anybody that's not black painting their face black. It's their culture, so I have to respect it. Just like as a black person, I probably would not want to, even though clowns paint their face white, I wouldn't necessarily want to paint my face white. It's just a personal thing, but we're going to respect their culture. So they had a really good time. And Claudia's like, she kind of wishes Saucy would have been there because he is, the life of the party. And this is a huge party. Like, who does not want to go to New Orleans and enjoy Mardi Gras? Child, I digress. And I get that they're in that environment, but it's like, this is the one time you could have put the two things together and did something good, and he didn't even do that. So the parade is over, and Claudia and Angela are headed to track practice. I'm like, well, that was quick. This accelerated program is going to accelerate if it doesn't do anything else. So I said, Angela's behind. Good Lord. Because I know she took some of the fillers out, and she's been trying to, with this awakening, kind of fix some of the things with the body. But when she was running to just forgive me. So Angela has never run track, but she's been working out, and this kind of all fits in with part of her journey. And Sis says she has her eyes on being a valedictorian. She's not the only one. So now Nick, he's disappointed with Saucy, and he's acting like his father, trying to tell him, like, you got to tighten up. All right, you got to do this work. You didn't show up. We got to get it done. Well, everybody else is hard at work doing the number of things that they have to do for the school year. It's a lot of group projects, which I don't like, but at least, they seem to be trying to work together, ask questions. It was funny because at one point Carlos was like, can I bring my assistant to do all this stuff? And Tamar basically was like, child, I think this was at this point, don't threaten me with a good time, okay? But they can't sit for you and take your final. So I don't know if that's how that works. You might be able to have them come over and do some typing and some research, but in terms of execution, you got to get up there and handle that on your own. So for their philosophy class, they're going to have a debate. And the question of the debate, is it possible to truly be happy in an unjust society? And it's ladies versus the fellas. We saw that on the preview. I was ready to see it. We get that a little bit later in the episode. So now they're working, and Saucy goes out again to see his tutor. Out again, coming home again, 5 o'clock in the morning. He's waking folks up. And that would annoy me, y'all. That would annoy me because Angela looked like, and she talked to him later in the episode, but that would mean, don't wake me out of my sleep. Don't wake me out of my sleep. Do you want to unleash the beast? Don't do it, okay? So Claudia is me also. She's like, shut the up. Like, she was not trying to hear any of that at all. And her confessional, she's like, she does not think college is appealing to him because he got so far without it, but she is taking it seriously, which is kind of honestly what he said, but he showed up anyway. So I thought we were going to get something different from him. I don't know if he's trying to make waves because, like, are we trying to be the new Ray J? Are we trying to be the standout? Or you just came for a free vacation? Because it's not even like you get that much camera time because okay. What do I say? I digress. So Carlos gets up in the morning. He's in the kitchen and he's hollering at Saucy because Saucy is laying on the couch sleep. He's like, get your ass up. Like, he's screaming and hollering like loud. Saucy don't budge, not a beat. And child, listen, another sidebar, another bit of wisdom from your girl. I miss those days so very badly. I watch my kids sleep, and my kids sleep like that. I mean, just horrid, especially them last two. They are impossible to wake up. But I feel like once you become a mom, you can't sleep that hard. Like, your head got to be on a swivel even in your sleep. So I just always admire it. Not necessarily from Saucy, but I kind of related watching them and knowing how my kids sleep, but Saucy, you probably also need, what is it, a CPAP machine or something, because all that snoring is not. Mm-mm-mm. So they go on to school, and Saucy is still asleep on the couch, baby. So now they're doing their presentations, and this is for their diaspora class where they just went to the whole, Mardi Gras situation. And I was kind of going through them, but Nick's was kind of the funniest. He's like, I thought that Mardi Gras was white women, they pull their breasts out for beads. He ain't say breasts. And they laugh, and I'm like, but he's probably not the only one. That's why, you gotta pay attention to these things. I'm sure a lot of folks actually thought that, but just the way he said it in the middle of his presentation for the professor to hear. But at least he's being transparent to what he didn't know. He's saying now that he knows it's more about tradition and community. And so we learn something. That's what we're here for, to learn something. Carlos has also stood out because, his hesitation with the blackface. So he talks about the Zulu Parade and how it wasn't quite what he thought, and that it wasn't making fun. It was to shine the light on racism and to celebrate Black folks overcoming obstacles. I mean, because baby, every day for the last centuries, okay, for quite some time. And this is Mr. 180. Carlos has done that 180 turn for now. I said, because I'm like, I don't know what we're going to get when we go to this next class, which is a debate. So they get to the class. Saucy gets an F for not showing up. And now the fellas are one person short. Because as you can see by the picture I have here, we have 3 men and we have 3 women. So it was the men versus the women. So now we're down 1 man. Again, is it possible to truly be happy in an unjust society? So the men, their argument is yes. Happiness starts in the mind, Carlos says. Carlos like to do a lot of talking. And then we start talking about Nick playing ball, and then he's like, Nick is tall, and talking about being 7 feet tall, like child. And then here go Nick. Yeah, you could be happy short or tall. And Carlos gonna call them the Forrest and Bubba Gump. Baby, the way I hollered, the scrump that I scrumped, okay? Because I was just like, and that is kind of what they were sounding like. You could be happy, short or tall. Yeah, okay. Dr. Seuss, or whatever you want to call it. So Tamar, they are on the opposing side. So their view is, no, you can't be. And she starts talking about being a mom and watching women go through 30 rounds of IVF. So how can she celebrate while others suffer? That was a really good point, because I was kind of like, yeah, happiness is in the mind, because they say what you believe, what you think, what you speak, which is why we into this positivity. You always check out your girl in pajamas Sundays, because it's heavy on self-care over here. But those things are really important. So I was kind of thinking, okay, the fellas and Carlos do have a little bit of the gift of gab. So in the confessional, Claudia is saying that women don't usually lose debates, or at least not that we speak of. So now it's time for cross. They gotta kind of cross-examine each other, if you will, ask questions, give, it's kind of like rebuttals and stuff. So now it gets a little heated between Carlos and Tamar. They talking, in my opinion, you can get down in the comments to correct me if I'm wrong. It was more so Carlos speaking over Tamar, and she wasn't trying to have it. So it wasn't going the way that they wanted it to go. So now Claudia says that the men have to self-medicate and they're still not happy. And Carlos is like, oh, I didn't know this was going to get so personal. Nick was honestly offended by it too. And the professor was looking like, oh, okay, he's trying to wrap things up, and they have to decide who the winner is. So the winner of the debate was the women. Angela said, yeah, because the men got too emotional. So the men aren't happy with Claudia. Says that as they're going outside, Nick calls her. He says something about like, oh, that's her white side, and he calls her a colorist, and she didn't like that. She's got flack for in the past something she said that made her appear to be colorist. Claudia has not always been my favorite person. I do appreciate the way she has handled herself on this show thus far, so I will say that. But outside of the show. So Tamar is like, the men are in their feelings, but the colors thing, it just really brings Claudia to tears. She's it kind of reminds me of Angela. She's kind of very much trying to move past a moment, and then Nick was here to bring it back up for her. So Carlos, he does apologize. I think he gave her a hug, but she's kind of like, it ain't really you that need to apologize. So after Claudia kind of walks away, I think she had to go tape the show. This is when TGIF was still going, which we know that's a wrap now. Tamar talks to Nick and tells him that he needs to apologize also. So y'all, I be fidgeting. I'm a New Yorker. I move my hands when I talk. I fidget. So I hope the quality of this is good. I'm just seeing myself moving it. I digress. So as they want to perhaps have a family meeting, especially with how Saucy's, acting, not going to class, but more so coming in at 5 o'clock in the morning and waking the people up. So Saucy magically pops up. It's lunchtime there. I guess we'll call it the cafeteria, the caf, whatever you want to call it. Saucy magically pops up, and Carlos is talking to him about respecting boundaries. And Saucy's like, acts like he's confused, like, what do you mean respecting boundaries? Like what boundaries are not being respected? And he's like, i.e., don't wake folks up. But Saucy is being combative, because Saucy can say what he want to say, but you can't say what you want to say. So he's like, well, why now? Like, what? This is not the first time people have been waking people up. Why bring it up now? Angela's like, I said what I had to say. I spoke my piece in the moment, essentially. So, in the confessional, he kind of says he'll respect Angela's quiet. He kind of apologizes. They have a couple of words. They hug it out. They all good. Now, does that mean that Saucy's not going to turn around and do it again? He is. And it's just, I just hate this. I hate this. I hate this for him and for this show. So Claudia, she's going through it. I think she called her mom at one point when they got back to the house, and she kind of says, she's been crying and kind of going over what happened, but she also has her eyes on being valedictorian. So I'm curious to see who will be valedictorian, who will be salutor. Y'all, you know what I'm trying to say. I ain't even going to fight it no more. This year. Tamar in the room complaining that she wants a housekeeper. She don't want to make beds. She don't want to do nothing. I thought that was a cute little scene. So now the group is working on this bill, and Carlos is like, I can see why Ray J dropped out. I said, yeah, they seem to me, again, get down in the comments to correct me if I'm wrong. They seem to me to have a lot more work and it be more intensive, although it's always like an accelerated small little program and all you get is a certification, but they seem to have a lot more group projects, a lot more work. It's a lot. Okay. And they also seem to be more connected and taking it more seriously. So there's that. So now it's the next day. It's time for this bill. Tamar has a previous engagement, so everybody else heads to school to do what they have to do, even Saucy. And on the bus, Nick apologizes to Claudia. He says what he has to say, and she also apologizes to him too. Tamar, God bless you, baby, because that would be me. I don't like public speaking. Now, she did have something to do, so that wasn't the reason, but that's what I would want to happen for myself. I don't have no problem with doing the research and the legwork, if you will, and getting the notes and getting everything done. But the presenting part, baby, and then you have to present. I think they're presenting to a congressman. That would rattle my nerves. So yeah, y'all get up there and talk. And just give it to you. But I digress. So they are getting a grade for the bill, and they're getting a grade for the presentation, and everybody is, I guess, having the same feelings I am. They're super duper nervous. We see, I believe it's the congressman on like a Zoom or a FaceTime, and that's basically where the episode ends. So we get, a couple of previews for next week. Big Frida's going to show up. That. Oh, Big Frida. I think Big Frida do the Shem type of thing. Big Frida was also on College Hill, and I remember Frida explaining to, oh my God, what was it? Because he's problematic now. When he was so cool when he was on there. Oh boy, you're looking like what you see. Won't you come over and check up on it? Big Slim. Saying to Big Slim that like her bros call her, like dude, and then the kids call her ma. So Shem. Anyway, I digress. Frida's coming to visit. They're getting a new class, which is music and culture. Excited to see that, and it looks like they're going to have an evaluation. Angela going to have some issues there, and I'm assuming they're going to present this bill. So I'm still rocking with it. I hope you guys are rocking with it. Get down in the comments. I love to respond and see what you guys have to say thus far. Luckily, these aren't too long, so I'm happy about that. I decided to just keep them as pre-recorded. I don't know if as many people are checking for this show, but I do watch it. I do enjoy it. And I do love to indulge in a little reality TV, if you will. So anybody, this is not a replay, Kara. You just said it's not alive. Anybody coming through, please make sure that you leave a comment in the comment section. Your girl is on the road to 1K by the end of the year. So please help me get to, child, we like 3 days away, to 500 by July 15th. Thank you and welcome to my new subscribers. I appreciate you ever so kindly. Listen, we out here doing big things in this street. Candy Love got her 400. Monique Nicole got her 1K. So your girl is on her way. Help me get to that 500 because I want to get to that 1K by the end of the year because baby, it's been a long time coming. But I have really tried to put in the work this year. So I hope you guys have noticed and appreciate it as much as I appreciate you here because it's a community on both sides. You know, I got my YouTube content creator family, and then, you know, I got my viewership community. Again, you know, I just be running my mouth. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.